Hi everyone, today we're going to look at the 9 Noble Truths written by the Norse people from the 2 particular texts, the Havamal and the Sigdrafamal, which were decoded or translated in the 1970s. Basically, these 2 texts or poems describe the 9 Noble Truths which a human should live by to live a meaningful life. So we'll just go on to them and why it's important to follow a good morale system is very important when you're working with the self. So having a stable mind and having a stable sense of identity is very important, because a strong mind and a strong will lets you achieve. It lets you become stronger against adversity. So if you're someone who struggles with fear, doubt, uncertainty, depression even, these sort of negative vibes, having a stronger self will give you the ability to overcome these problems. So let's just go on to them for first and let them speak for themselves. So we've got courage, the bravery to do what is right at all times. So that bravery in a sense that we can stand up for ourselves. Number 2, truth, the willingness to be honest and say what one knows to be true and right. We have honor, the feeling of inner value and worth from which one knows one is noble of being, and the desire to show respect for this quality when it is found in the world. When we see an honorable gesture, or we see someone acting in honor or in an honorable way, we respect that, we find value in that. So we're finding value in courage, courageous acts, one willing to stand up for themselves, to be brave, to do what is right, to not sit down and watch something that is wrong, to stand up to something that is not right. Truth, being truthful with yourself and knowing that inside what you're speaking of is the truth, and that you have a self method of following the truth, and you also see or expect other people to be truthful as well. So in that way, if we're all being truthful, then we are not hiding or trying to sort of attack each other, or trying to hide from each other or patronize each other, because we're truthful. We know what one thinks and what each other thinks of the environment around us, and then we have the honor to show that quality, to have honor in the self, to have honor in the family, to have honor in your friends, and to stand up for that honor. We have fidelity, to be loyal to one's faith, to one's folks, to oneself, and the oaths that are taken. So that's making the word of yourself trustful. It's making the word your oaths, you swearing by your oaths. So you're making these oaths which are important to you, and you're not going back on them. You're being loyal to your own faith, and you're being loyal to your own folk and yourself. You're being loyal and honest to yourself. Discipline, the willingness to be hard with oneself and when need be with others. So disciplining yourself, your mind, things that in your body in some ways too, disciplining yourself and working hard to achieve your goals. So this is a big one, because a lot of people lack that discipline to uphold all these other different truths. So they don't have the discipline to uphold the courage, or the discipline to uphold the truth, or the honor. That's really what keeping with it, persevering, is the discipline. So the willingness to be hard with oneself. So sometimes we have things that about ourselves which we're a little bit hard on, but being hard on ourselves causes us to become stronger. It's not being overly negative, however. It's being honest to ourselves and honest to others as well, and being hard on the self when need be. So we have to, sometimes we just have to get up, pick ourselves up, and move on with the life. And that's something a lot of people have trouble with, is being their own master. They have to rely on other people, other people's energy. Be the master of your own energy. Hospitality, the willingness to show the willingness to share what one has with one's fellows, especially when they are far from home. This is a big one, because showing that respect for other people, especially those who are following these truths, is very important, because it's the same thing as showing respect to ourselves in a way. But being able to be hospitable to other people, to share what you have with them when they're far away, is showing kindness from the heart. And it's also a very good point, because they're really requiring that, or relying or hoping on that. That can mean a lot to them. And one day when you're far from home and someone does the same to you, you'll realize how important that is. So self-reliance is the next one. The spirit of independence, which is achieved not only for the individual, but also for the family, clan, tribe, and nation. So the self-reliance and independence within your own group, or within yourself. So being, again, in control of yourself, but giving that, not relying on the information of others to make your own decisions. This even goes to your personal matters too. So don't let what anyone else says make up your judgment, or don't rely on that. If someone someone else says that you're a bad person, don't be, or someone else says someone else is a bad person, that is not it's not a following your path of truth if you simply believe them, or you use that to judge someone else. So it's really about being independent, but also being strong enough to uphold your own independence, your own self. And other people may not have the discipline to uphold that, but what's important is that you uphold it for yourself. So again, you're not doing it for others, or because others don't do it, you simply don't do it. You do it for yourself, and you don't let your guard down simply because other people aren't having that same level of independence. Industriousness, the willingness to work hard, always striving for efficiency as a joyous activity in itself. So when we work hard, we get a sense of satisfaction from that. It could be working hard, it could be just mastering anything that you do. Remember, we live in a complex life, and there's always barriers between what we can achieve, or what we'd like to achieve, and what we have to come to terms with. But that shouldn't stop you from being independent for your own mind, and being industriousness in that you're pushing yourself in a good way. You're pushing yourself in that you're always keeping your mind active, and you're not letting just everything take control of you. You're having that spirit, that strong spirit, to make your own decisions. Perseverance, the spirit of steadfastness that can always bring one back from defeat or failure. Each time we fall, we recognize the failure for what it is, and if it is the purpose, if the purpose is true and good, we persevere until success is won. So we persevere from defeat and failure, and the feeling of defeat and failure. We persevere against it, especially if we've got a good virtuous deed or something good in mind. We push ourselves to attain that, and we don't give up, especially if it's something that we believe in, that is something good. And if we find our sense of identity there, especially when we've got other forces, other people trying to tell us that we're wrong, that we're seeing things wrongly, not in their point of view, having the perseverance to stick with yourself. Because remember that if you look back to the hard times in your life, whenever things turned terrible, it was when you didn't listen to yourself, when you didn't listen to your what you wanted. You let other people influence what you wanted, and then things turn bad. You know, those people ended out to be terrible people that didn't care about you, but you let them influence you. You let them make up your decisions because you thought that they knew better about you, but because you're a person who is trusting of others. So that's a thing that comes with trust. It comes with truth, but it also comes with the discipline, and it also comes with the independence as well. So you can't be too trusting to just anyone that you meet. You have to go through this system. You have to go through your own system. Even if they seem like the best person in the world, most of the people who don't care are the ones who seem the best in the world at many times, because they know how to act like it. They know what you want because they are good at working through that. They are used to it. Like people who are sociopathic, they are great at knowing the emotions of the humans, and they know how to, they're wordsmiths. They can play with you with their words. But if you follow this honest system, in the end, you will be the one who's virtuous. Because that seems the path to go down when you have lost that sense of honor and truth and courage, fidelity, the discipline, the hospitality, the self-reliance, the industriousness, the perseverance to be oneself. When we lose touch with that, that is when we start to use our gifts in a wrong way. We start to take advantage of what we have. Yet if we can, in the end result, it ends in tragedy. You become the result of your tragedy. You become what you have failed to do. And that's one of life's lessons too. So when we have these people who are being inherently bad or dishonest, let's say they're stealing, they're doing theft, or they're even making money in unjustful ways, it's not, they have the perception that they are better than us, but in the end they will be in ruin. They will become a result of that tragedy, and it's only a matter of time. And in the end, the people who stay strong with these positive virtues, they will come out on top. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how bad the influence is, no matter how depressed you get, when there's no one who feels that same way, you will come out as people looking up to you, and those people who were not virtuous. In the end, however, now they seem that they're on a better path than you because they can reap all these rewards. In the end, they will be directionless because they don't have the virtues. And that's very important when you want to become more spiritual. It's a matter of importance for any human being, for anyone who wants to learn the self-mastery and who wants to progress the self. The path is endless, and it just keeps on going and going and going and going. And the further you climb, ascend, the more these truths are important to you, because these virtues are going to be the very foundations of what you're going to use to project yourself, to be who you are and not to be afraid of who you are. If you have all these enemies because you've been not virtuous, and you have all these enemies, you'll hold all this tension and fear within you. If you're pretending to be really smart, you're always going to be on the verge of being found out for who you really are, which is not as smart. If you have not been truthful, you're always going to be scared of being found out. And that is why, if you're not a virtuous person, you're always going to be having to be avoiding always all this energy towards these things. Whereas if you're just a virtuous person, people will look up to you, people will look to you for answers. And there's no truly virtuous people in that sense. There's some people who follow that path more, but remember, it's always an ongoing thing. So just because you were very virtuous 2 months ago, if you let go of that, you'll change, because we are changing beings. So it's about recreating all these truths, this courage, this truth, this honor, fidelity, discipline, hospitality, self-reliance, industriousness, perseverance, all the time, creating it. Every month we create that new sense of how we're going to apply these values into our lives. And remember, we all have gone through suffering, we all have gone through pain.